So Nikhil, the session is live on YouTube now. I'm making you host now, so you can go ahead and take up the work. Okay, sure.
Uh, so I have made Parul, Ruchika ma'am, and Gaurav sir co-host. Gaurav sir, you can play the video, but let me start the recording first. So you can play the video.
A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action becomes a reality. हर साल लाखों एस्पिरेंट्स सिविल सर्वेंट बनने का ख्वाब देखते हैं. And to achieve that, they compete for less than 1,000 vacancies. The extensive process and the vast UPSC syllabus makes clearing the exam a tedious process. एक planned approach और correct strategy ही civil services preparation का पहला कदम है. Students often face doubts like when to start, what to study, which material to refer to, and how to find the best mentors. The one-stop solution to all these questions is Next IAS. Next IAS has emerged as one of the best institute in the country for GS, CSAT, optional and interview guidance. Our premises at Rajinder Nagar stands tall, encompassing the heart of the civil services preparation hub in the national capital. Mr. B. Singh, the chairman and managing director at Next IAS and Made Easy Group, strongly follows and believes in शिक्षा ही धर्म है. आज देश के सबसे जाने माने सिविल सर्विसेज फैकल्टीज नेक्स्ट IAS की पहचान बन चुके हैं. Next IAS consists of pool of experts जिसमें experienced academicians, highly acclaimed subject matter experts और retired civil servants शामिल हैं. Your quest for the right direction towards CSE ends here, as we offer effective mentoring and proactive counseling for our students. Next IAS के academic coach का concept आपके selection की journey में एक friend, philosopher and guide का काम करता है. Our infrastructure is impeccably designed to keep the students in high spirits. Classes are spacious and equipped with audio-visual facilities. Our state-of-the-art facility for the online classes consists of a world-class newsroom and 40+ studios equipped with interactive boards, high-definition cameras, and the latest devices to deliver high-quality content. Students की सेफ्टी को ध्यान में रखते हुए नेक्स्ट IAS में कोविड-19 सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल्स को स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो किया जाता है. Our comprehensive and high-yielding study material, test series, current affairs, and the free content available will definitely add an extra edge to your preparation.
Next IAS is Next Generation Institute and it is an initiative of मेडीजी ग्रुप। भारतीय सिविल सेवा में जाना हर नौजवान का सपना होता है और आपके सपनों को साकार करने के लिए हम लोग प्रयास कर रहे हैं नेक्स्ट आईएएस के थ्रू। नेक्स्ट आईएएस मेडीजी ग्रुप का इनिशिएटिव है, 2017 में एस्टेब्लिश हुआ था और 2017 से लेकर के अभी तक बहुत सारे आईएएस यहाँ से बन के जा चुके हैं। अगर आप सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन करना चाहते हैं और आपको किसी भी तरह के सपोर्ट की ज़रूरत है, then you can take our support.
Within a short span of 4 years, Next IAS has consistently produced top rankers. Every morning, you have two choices. Continue to sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them with Next IAS.
All right. So, am I audible? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to invite you all to this webinar. UPSC is a dream that millions of aspirants have. This life-changing exam is attempted every year by numerous candidates, but only the best of them are able to come out with flying colors. Not only hard work, but strategically planning your preparation is extremely crucial. Next IAS is a premier institute for UPSC preparation, headquartered in Delhi. Its faculty panel constitutes of professors, ex-civil servants, and subject experts. It has produced astounding results with 4 candidates in top 10, 9 candidates in top 20, and 45 selections in top 100 in the 2021 exam. Today, we have with us Ms. Ruchika Bharadwaj, eminent faculty at Next IAS with vast experience of civil services examination. She has been mentoring aspirants since 2006. We are also delighted to have Mr. Pulkit Singh, IAS, who has achieved an extraordinary rank of AIR 26. He completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT BHU, and after that he appeared for UPSC ESC exam, where he got an all India rank of 55. He has also worked at the prestigious DRDO, so we are extremely grateful to have them with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Parul, and thank you, IIT Kanpur. And thank you, everyone, for giving us this platform today to discuss about civil services. As most of you are might be aware about these services, because every year so many engineers and many from IITs appear for this examination. So as Parul, you were talking about the results of Next IAS. So first, let us discuss about this examination. So if you see this examination, as most of you might be knowing about it, that this is an examination which is conducted every year from UPSC. It is conducted by UPSC, and it is conducted in phases. You have prelims, then you have mains, and then you have interviews, or which is formally called as personality test. So in your prelims, you have CSAT paper and you have a GS paper. Prelims is just a qualifying round, and then you enter into the mains, which is more of a descriptive examination, where you have different subjects which are like history, geography, economics, polity, international relations, internal security, disaster management, and ethics. These kind of subjects, they are divided into papers, like we have GS paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you also have to write one essay paper, which is compulsory for all these candidates. And then you also have to choose one optional subject. And the best part of UPSC is that you are not forced to take the optional of your graduation subject only. You could go for anything. You are an engineer, you can go for humanities subject, or you can continue with your engineering subjects also, depending on your liking. And once you qualify this mains, then you enter the final stage, that is your interview, or that you called as your personality test. And based on your marks that you get in your personality test and your mains, your final result is there. And depending on the number of vacancies in that particular year, in that particular service, you are assigned the service. So this is just a kind of a technical idea about the whole examination process. But let us first discuss about this exam. This exam, you might have heard from many people that this is one of the most difficult examinations on the earth. It is examination where you need to be a topper in your school or in your college, or you should have a very good academic background, or you need to come over to Delhi, only then you can qualify this exam. Or that if you from a rural background, it cannot it can be a kind of a hindrance in your overall preparation. You need to have very good English. These kind of myths are there around this examination. But let me tell you one thing, that this examination is bursting all the myths. And if you see the results, as Parul was talking about the results, if you see the results, every year people from across the country are clearing this examination. Yesterday, I was talking to one of the toppers from this year's result. He's ranked 101. And he is like, his family background, he's from very, very humble family background. He came to know about this examination only after doing his engineering. Only in 2019 he came to know this about this examination, and now he is right now in the list this year. So this examination is very, very doable. The person I am talking about is like, he is from a humblest of the backgrounds. His father is a daily wage earner. That too, he lost his job during the pandemic. But it's not only this. So many of the candidates with this kind of background, from the rural background, from Hindi background, from the people who have scored third grades in their 10th or 12th, or somebody who has even failed once in their education career, but they are qualifying this exam. So the point is that this exam is very, very doable. This exam is very doable provided you have the determination, you have the grit, and you have the right kind of the approach for this examination. Because at the end of the day, this exam is a competitive exam. And every competitive exam needs certain skill sets. They need certain approach to click that exam. So today we are going to discuss about this approach. And we have Mr. Pulkit Singh with us, who was our student also. And today he is into Indian Administrative Service. And last year he has secured All India and rank 206. Welcome, Pulkit.
Thank you, ma'am.
So Pulkit, over to you. Let us just discuss about this examination, because there are so many myths around this examination, and you have qualified it with flying colors.
Yeah, ma'am, as you are mentioning, like there are more myths rather than the true facts around the exam. Hello.
Yes, I think you need to adjust your video. There is something, yeah.
I hope now it is working, ma'am.
Yeah, it's fine now.
So as you are saying that there are more myths than the facts in this examination. And I think those myths become because of the kind of significance this examination has, and the kind of people they go into this. And as you had mentioned, like those myths are bursted every year. Like you mentioned, there is no specific background needed for it, no specific education qualification needed for it, not that you academically you had been very superior in your school days or something like that. It is an examination which could be prepared by anyone, and anyone can excel at this examination.
So Pulkit, just discuss about your journey. How, like, when did you start the preparation? What motivated you towards the preparation?
My preparation, I think, started 2 years into my job. Like I had secured a job at DRDO, which was a campus placement. And while I was working over there, I gave this thought of going for the civil services, because during the course of my work itself, I came in touch with number of civil servants, as well as I came to know that even in my job itself, they had a significant role to play. So hence I decided to prepare for this examination 2 years into my job. And thereafter, I gave 3 attempts. I could qualify in the third attempt. In the earlier 2 attempts, although I appeared for the interviews, but I could not get into the merit list.
Okay, Pulkit, 2 years into the job, then you started the preparation. But right now, if somebody in the college, like first year, second year, right now, so many of the students are here who might be in the first or the second years of their college. So what is the right time to start if somebody is in the college?
Now, I think right time will be your 6th semester, for your last year. That will be very appropriate. And I believe nowadays students are getting conscious about where their decision making for their career, and they are doing that also. In our times, they usually used to delay what career they want to choose about 2 to 3 years down the line. They used to go into their job, and then they used to think about what will suit them in terms of their aptitude and their liking. But I have seen that nowadays they are very particular about it, and I believe sixth semester will be a very good time to start with it.
Okay. And Pulkit, you said that you have qualified it in the third attempt. So what were the lessons from the earlier 2 attempts?
I mean, the earlier 2 attempts, I could not balance my requirement of my optional with the requirement of the general studies. I had mechanical engineering as an optional. So I faced challenge in terms of covering it along with general studies. And secondly, I also realized that you need to, apart from balancing it, you need to devote yourself to the answer writing skill. And you need to go through it like you go through studying any particular topic or any subject in that regard. So these were 2 major learning for me from the earlier 2 attempts.
Okay, Pulkit, if somebody has finally decided that they would be appearing for, or they would be going to appear in the civil service examinations in future. So right now, if they have qualified or they have passed their 6th semester, so now what should be the beginning, how to begin the preparation while in the college, because you have to cope with college studies as well as preparation.
Yes, so I think 3 things becomes very crucial in this regard. First and foremost, we should be thorough with the syllabus. What is the requirement that we have to do? And along with the syllabus, we should selectively see some of the previous year questions also in this regard. That I will find out the first step in terms of preparing any competitive examination, because that will help us in determining the scope of the requirement of the examination. Then secondly, I believe someone who is starting for the preparation, he can start with reading NCERTs selectively in this regard. And thirdly, he needs to develop a habit of reading newspapers also on daily basis. I think these 3 basic things will definitely help anyone in terms of going forward in their preparation.
Okay, NCERTs, some people say that we should go for NCERTs from standard 6 till 12. Or some people say that only 10th, 11th, 12th NCERTs are sufficient. What is your take on this, Pulkit?
Ma'am, I believe we should understand what is the basic objective behind doing the NCERTs. NCERTs, they help us in terms of understanding what the government wants a kid in their country to know about. So they give you a briefly about the various issues that you need to focus upon. And I believe, as you mentioned, NCERTs from class 10th to 12th standard, yes, definitely they should be more in focus. And the NCERTs from class 6 to 8, if one has time, he can significantly cover those also. And there is a very significant factor, like those NCERTs, they have a very big font size, and it won't take much time if someone wants to devote his energy in completing those NCERTs also.
Okay. Pulkit, like you are an engineer and you had taken mechanical engineering as your optional. But many times we are seeing that people from technical background are quite confused. So what should be the main criteria to select one's optional?
No, I think it has to be about one's confidence in a given particular subject. Then secondly, one's curiosity about a particular topic. These 2 factors will greatly help anyone to score good in any particular subject he chooses. My reason for choosing my engineering background as optional was because I done a dual degree in mechanical engineering, and before appearing for civil services, I had also appeared for the engineering services examination. Hence, I opted for it as my optional. So that was my reason. But yeah, nowadays we find students opting various humanities subjects also as their optional.
Okay. So from a technical background, humanities subject is not difficult if you like that subject.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. And we have seen, in fact, they excel in those subjects also. We have seen students coming from these backgrounds, they excel in humanities subjects also.
Okay. So Pulkit, one thing you mentioned that what were your lessons from the first two attempts? One was your writing skills and all. So writing is a very big problem, especially when you are from a technical background, engineering background. We forget writing in the college. So how did you start, improving your writing skills, and how should one do it?
I mean, for developing writing skill, what I did was I started practicing on daily basis. I started answer writing practice on daily basis. I used to write around 4 to 5 answers daily, and then simultaneously I was also appearing in the mains test series at Next IS, which greatly helped me in terms of improving on the basis of the feedback which I was getting from the test series. So these two important things helped me in terms of improving it. And then thereafter, I also started going through the model answers for the UPSC previous year questions, which gave you an idea in terms of what you need to write. And once you start practicing it, you'll definitely find out that you will be able to write very good answers, even if you're coming from an technical background.
Okay, Pulkit, you mentioned about test series. So now students appear for prelims test series, they appear for mains test series, and they go for mock interviews also. So what is the ideal time to start your prelims and mains test series?
I think your prelims and mains preparation has to be integrated in this regard. And I believe, although you can start your prelims preparation a little before your mains preparation, but I believe that has to go hand in hand. And one can join the exhaustive test series that we usually get at the institutions nowadays, which at times are prelims come mains included in that. So that will be, I think, a year-long process in this regard.
Okay. Pulkit, do you have the name of the books, or could you share the name of the books, like apart from NCRTs, for at least some major subjects like economics, history, geography? Because what happens is once we are done with NCRTs, then we look for the next level of the books. Like we have Lakshmikant for quality, generally people go through it. So do you have a book list to share?
Ma'am, the book list is same for every student who is preparing for it. There is no difference which the book list is creating. If anyone wants to go through the book list, they can definitely refer to any of the blogs by the topper, and even coaching institutions are providing this blog. And believe me, you will not find a book which is different from those, or a book in addition to those which is read by the toppers. No one reads different sources. It's only about how one is reading those sources which differentiates between person who are able to secure in the merit list. So I believe if they want to go through the book list, I think Next IS might be having the book list in that regard, and they must just refer to it.
Okay. Okay, Pulkit, another question that comes to our mind when we are in final years, or when we have to sit for the placements. Should we go ahead with the placement? Do we need to have a plan B before preparing for UPSC, or should we directly jump into the fray?
So I believe many times students, particularly from IITs, they prefer taking a job, at least for 1 year or so, or maybe for 6 to 7 months. They prefer going into it. And I believe that definitely helps them in the long term in terms of even in their interview phase also. And otherwise also that definitely helps in terms of understanding the nuances of what one is required to do at his job or any kind of service that he might be involved in. So this could be the way. And there are others also who they are very sure about that what they want to do, and they directly jump into the UPSC preparation. So we find both set of students coming from these.
Okay. Okay, Pulkit, another very important aspect, but much neglected aspect of this whole preparation is the motivation factor. We generally discuss about books, we discuss about answer writing strategies and all. But one thing is very important is to remain positive. And being human beings, it's not possible to remain positive throughout the year, because this is a roller coaster ride. So how should one keep oneself motivated throughout the preparation?
Definitely, ma'am. Nowadays, we see a significant challenge in terms of keeping us motivated. Even the nature of the examination is such that it doesn't require you to be very intellectually strong or you to be very academically strong. You have to be just consistent about it. And for that, I think motivation becomes significant factor. So in this, I believe at times you just need to just recall what was the reason for starting this preparation. Or when you are feeling demotivated, take a break from what you are doing regularly. Get involved in your hobbies or some kind of activities which gives you a release. And then after some time, again come back to it. Go and talk to people about it. Talk to some seniors about it. Just take some perspective from the others. So that could be a way from which one might keep himself on track when he feels demotivated about it. And definitely it comes during the process. No one can't deny that they would not have gone through this particular thing.
Okay. Okay, Pulkit, then when we come to the third stage, which is very interesting stage where you are actually interacting with the civil servants. So how was your experience with the board? What kind of questions do they ask? Is it really scary? Because some of us are not very, they are not very open to speak to people.
I think as you mentioned, that it depends upon the candidate to a large extent. They are just there for a conversation with the candidate in order to evaluate the candidate on the basis of which they are looking for certain qualities that they are desiring for someone in the services. Now, coming to what they usually ask in the interviews, it is something similar to like we fill a CV before going for our placements. UPSC asks for a detailed application form, which has various details about about the person, about various places in which he has lived, about his hobbies, about his achievements. So they usually start with this particular aspect. And then at the same time, during the conversation itself, they might even go into certain topics of current relevance also. So these are these two broad areas on which they might be having a discussion. And on the basis of your knowledge, they might be evaluating you for the objective that they are having.
So, Pulkit, you have mentioned about the current topics also, and otherwise also current affairs is a very important part of the whole preparation. So, how did you prepare for the current affairs? Were you reading the newspapers daily? If yes, then how to read the newspapers and how to cope up with the current aspect of this whole examination?
I used to read the newspaper religiously on daily basis, and in order to aid my learnings from the newspaper, I used to refer to the monthly magazine by Next IS. The only reason why I was referring magazine by Next IS was that it had some good pictographic representation of the events that had taken place during the month, which help you in terms of grasping and recalling it at the time of the examination. Because believe me, when it comes to current affairs, we read a lot of material. But when it comes in terms of the examination, we have to write very briefly on that. So this was my strategy in terms of covering the current affairs.
Mainly, there are two newspapers, the Hindu and the Indian Express, and students are often confused which one to read.
No, definitely, as you mentioned, there are two newspapers. Uh, I don't think they should be confused. It could be about one's liking. I personally liked Indian Express because of its writing flair it provided me, because of the way it had structured its newspaper. So I was following Indian Express. I had friends who were following Hindu, and I don't find much difference. Like if there is some news which is covered in the newspaper on one day, the other one, if it has missed on that day, they will be definitely covering on the coming day also. So you
Okay,
can choose any of the two newspapers.
another question is like where note about note making. Some do the note making, some just do the underlining, some do it like Evernote pe banate hain, some of them do it in the hard copy form. So what do you think is the right way of note making? Did you make notes?
Yes, ma'am, I made notes. In fact, I was making notes both online and offline, because making online notes, it's easier to manage them. But having said that, at times we have been so particular about with pen and paper, so used to it that we are not very comfortable with using that also. So then I switched on to the conventional pen and paper style. So I used to have A4 sheets, and I used to make notes on them. And then at the end of the, like when the exam used to approach, I used to segregate those A4 sheets into the topics which one has to cover.
Okay. Another, if you listen to various toppers, if you talk to them, most of them would be saying that the revision is the key to success in this examination. So how many times one should ideally revise the content for this examination?
I don't think there is any ideal thing with this revision for this examination. As many times as one is able to revise it, the more beneficial it will be for the individual. As we had said earlier also, like this is more about what you are able to reproduce in the examination scenario, what you are able to recall at that particular time. And that thing enhances significantly when one has done multiple revisions of the content that he has prepared. So I think as many revisions as possible is the significant part. I would like to just add to it, like we should try to restrict the amount of resources that we refer and
Yes.
focus more on the revision part rather than expending the resources or just going about to enhancing our knowledge base in this regard.
Yes, because in this today's world where we have social media, where we have so many online platforms, there is no dearth of the content. So restricting is something very, very important, and one should understand that restricting the content is very important. And you will come to know what to study, what not to study if you are thorough with the syllabus. I think in previous year question papers, if you map the syllabus and the previous year question papers, you will be directly focusing on what is the requirement of this exam. Okay, Pulkit, anything more like right now you are in services and you are undergoing training also. So just tell us about how you are feeling after getting into service.
Ma'am, initially after getting into it, it's similar to what a student goes through during his first year. Like they are more in a relaxed form, in the relaxed mode, and they just want to enjoy the time at that particular time, because at the same time we are also aware that in the coming years more challenges awaits us, and it would be quite challenging on our personal life as well as professional life. So till now it has been more about like to garnish maximum out of this time and to spend more time, which is like very helpful in terms of rejuvenating yourself after the preparation phase.
Okay, so we have, I think, covered almost all the aspects of the preparation. If the candidates here, if they have any questions, they can write to us, and we will be taking up the questions one by one. If you have any doubts, if you need some more clarifications, or if you have any specific doubt, you can write in the chat box so that we can take up the questions as well.
So thank you, Ruchika ma'am, and thank you, Professor, for your guidance about the UPSC. So yes, it was an insightful session for the participants to know more about the UPSC and the challenges faced by different candidates while preparing for UPSC. So I have few questions that are collected from the people, and they are kind of common questions that they want to ask. So one of the question is about the optional, right? Many people do their in engineering from one different subject and choose their optional as different subject. So shouldn't they be choosing their optional as their engineering subject only? So what are the reasons behind that they choose different optional instead of their engineering subject?
Actually, there is no compulsion in terms of choosing your optional as your graduation subject, number one. Number two, like if you are saying that why they don't opt engineering optional as frequently, or why we find more candidates opting humanities subjects even though they're coming from engineering background. The reason being that it is quite challenging to prepare engineering optional, to be very honest about it. And second is, many times, as I mentioned earlier also, uh, candidates face challenge in terms of balancing their GS preparation and the optional preparation. When you prepare an humanities optional, you are able to aid your knowledge that you will be having in your optional subject into your GS subject also. So these are the two primary factors because of which candidates opt for optional other than the engineering subjects.
Okay. So another question might be is like some people decide to go for UPSC in the engineering time while they are BTech only. So B.Tech or M.Tech or PhD. So then comes a placement period. So how to make your mind so strong that if you are losing out on the placements of IIT, which are very much hyped in the society, so like when you are losing on the placements, you are given upon placement and preparing for a competitive exam, which is very uncertain. Like if you are selected for you up to mains in first attempt, then it's a possibility that you may be not selected for even, you may not pass for even prelims in the next attempt. This exam is so uncertain. Then why, how to motivate, yeah, how to get your mind clear on that, yeah, yes, I will lose on the placement and prepare for the exam.
See, child, it many times depends upon the reasons that you are having for doing any particular thing. You are mentioning about placements. We have seen people who are having established jobs, who are into, you may say, 5 years or 6 years into their jobs. Then also they leave their job and then they start preparing for the UPSC. It is because of the reason that one might associate with in terms of preparing for UPSC that he goes for its preparation. And it has to be one's personal choice in this regard. If that particular time, at the time of the placement, one feels that their placements are important, yes, that could be a reason at that particular time. Then that time the candidate can definitely go for preparation of for the placement that we have. And then later on, if he feels like if he wants to prepare for UPSC, definitely he can go and prepare for UPSC as well.
There is one question, how difficult it is for engineers to read history, geography, humanities subject?
Believe me, like it's not difficult because, well, to be very true, although we are engineering students, but we are quite nerdy in terms of reading anything. And we have found that engineering students are very interested in reading these kind of topics, especially history and anthropology. They have kind of inclination to read those. Once you start reading those, you will definitely start enjoying it. And the other factor being like 3 or 4 years into your engineering graduation, by the time of your second year, you are able to realize whether you want to continue with engineering or whether you want to pursue something else. And if you have decided that you are not going to continue in engineering stream, you will definitely be looking for alternative, and that is highly likely that you are a person of some creative stance and you might be looking into more inclined towards reading things like this.
There is another question, what role does coaching institutes play in the preparation?
See, as you have all cleared IIT JEE examination, so you can just relate to it. The kind of role coaching used to play during the JEE preparation, it is similar to that. It provides you certain guidance in terms of what you should read, at what time you should read. It gives you at times mentorship. It gives you at times expertise that they have accumulated over a period of time. If you are able to avail this without joining in coaching institution, definitely you need not join coaching institutions. But if you feel that if you have to do it and if you can afford it, then definitely there is no harm in that. It will be adding value to your preparation only.
Then there is another question, Pulkit, how to prepare with job and how to manage job and mains preparation after prelims?
Yeah, it becomes very challenging. Like preparing with job, preparing for prelims, it is quite possible and people do it. But I have seen that when it comes to mains, either they go for leave or either they just quit their job in order to appear for the mains. Because believe me, mains requires a different kind of preparation, which is not possible if you are not fully devoting yourself day in and day out for the 100 odd days between prelims and mains. So that will definitely demand you to get prepared in that regard. Otherwise, for prelims, you can definitely prepare along with the job.
Okay,
I
so
think
I
I
have
don't have
another
any more
question.
questions in the chat box, Pulkit.
Okay, actually, I have a question. Like when you are preparing for UPSC and simultaneously doing a job, so a job is more exhaustive and more, takes up you mentally and physically. So, how difficult and what challenges do general people face while preparing for UPSC simultaneously with a job?
See, in the job also, like you did mention that at times it might be quite hectic. But normally we have nowadays Saturday and Sundays are off. And even when we talk about hectic days on job, you might have some of the hectic days, but not all 5 days will be very hectic for you. Even if you are able to devote, say, 2 to 3 hours every day in the weekdays, and at the weekend, if you are able to devote yourself fully to it, you can definitely devote significant amount of time to the preparation.
Okay, so just last question from my side. Like when we go for an interview, so one of the common question that they ask to some people from IIT or good colleges, that since you are from IIT, so you must have got a nice package offered. Then why have you chosen UPSC as another path? And if you are decided that you will go for UPSC, then why did you prepare for IIT at the first instance?
Yes, it definitely for questions of this nature. First thing is that a candidate should not feel that he has been targeted with this particular question. He should dissociate himself from this question. He should not take it very personal, because this is a phenomena which we are seeing it. And when we are answering it, when he is asking for the reason, he is also not able to understand it. So that means we have to just bring about certain facts in this regard. Like if he is mentioning that why you want to prepare for it, you have to just simply put up, like, sir, when we look for the job, only the package is not the criteria. We look for many aspects to it. We look for the impact that we might create on the job. We look for the kind of performance we might have on a particular job, the interest that we will be having in a job. So your answer could be on these lines. And now coming to the other part, like many times you feel that they are targeting you. They're trying to say that you have spoiled a seat or something like that. But at the heart, at somewhere, they also recognize this, that in our country, when you are a 16-year or a 17-year-old kid, you are not mature enough so that you are able to understand yourself completely, and you can decide your career at that particular time only. It is up to you, like in which field you are able to develop more interest, you go and devote yourself. And the other significant factor I just want to mention from my side, like at times they just say that no, you have done in science, go and pursue it. For that, you can simply submit it. Like nowadays, we see the significance of technology in all aspects of our life. We will find it in all kind of jobs. And if you are able to do well in that, you will be utilizing your knowledge there in terms of improving the systems elsewhere also. So this could be some of your replies in this. And just one thing I would like to add is that you should not be perturbed by these kind of questions. And that will be when you dissociate yourself individually and don't feel that you are being targeted with these such questions.
There is a question, Pulkit. Which subject has a vast syllabus, civil engineering or mathematics?
Both are quite exhaustive. Because I could talk about civil engineering, because engineering optionals are quite exhaustive in their syllabus, and even mathematics syllabus is comparable to it. Although you will be seeing that students score well in this, and every year you will be able to see that some of them are scoring exceedingly well in these subjects. But mind you, in order to prepare for it, you have to devote a lot of energy in terms of preparing for both the subjects as mentioned by the student in this regard.
Then what is probability of being selected as IS fresher versus working professional? It's not like that if you're a fresher, you will not be selected. If you're a working professional, you will lose the probability. It all depends on your hard work. It all depends on your strategy, how you have prepared. Because every year, so many freshers are coming. Level of mathematics optional is up to graduation or post-graduation.
See, they mentioned that for engineering subjects and science subjects, they expect a level of graduation. And for humanities subject, they mentioned a level above the graduation level, but not that of a postgraduate also. So this is what has been mentioned in terms of the levels that are required by the UPSC.
Then when to start the preparation, which semester has already been discussed. And in starting from where we have to start the preparation, please also suggest that is also Pulkit has already answered. Are humanities options easier than engineering optionals?
See, rather than saying easier, we have to be very honest about it. Like most of us if I take on an average, like many of you might be very sincere in your studies in college days, but on an average, we are not so sincere in terms of preparing our engineering subjects. Although we might score well in our end semesters, but many times we are not as devoted to it during our college days. So because of which students are able to have a second thought in terms of what subject they want to pursue, and then they go for selecting humanities. It's not because they feel that it is easier, it's because they feel that at that junction, at that particular juncture, they will be able to spend more time in terms of preparing it, and hence they go for it.
Okay, then question about note making, how you made the notes. He has already answered to this query. Do you use that? He has answered to this query. Uh, how you practice answer writing at the start of the preparation when you have very little knowledge of the topic?
Don't start it at the first go. Try to read significantly on that particular topic. At least go through the entire syllabus of that particular subject, and then gradually start writing it. And then when you are writing it, first have a self-evaluation of it, self-evaluation in terms of compare it with the model answer, and then ask for some kind of review which you might be expecting on that. So that will be how you might start your answer writing preparation.
So we have almost answered to all the questions. There are many repetitive questions. Some of them might have joined later. Or how much minimum time should one keep in mind to crack this exam?
See, at least 2 to 3 years. That is bare minimum, because 2 years, the process itself takes 2 years if you are preparing for it. And at times, if you are unlucky about it, you have to take in a buffer of 1 year before preparation itself. So you are able to focus on what you are to achieve. When you start your preparation, think that your next 3 years are devoted to preparation, and then go for the preparation.
If one has prepared for GATE ESC for a subject, shall it be easier for a student to take that subject as optional?
Yeah, definitely. Because the concepts will be same, although they might be asking you more of a numericals rather than objective questions, but the concepts remain the same.
Sir, as we know, the civil service examination is really tough and time taken. The preparation and the preliminary mains cover years. So how to be confident? This has been already answered. How much engineering mathematics helps me if I choose mathematics as an option?
Yeah, there are a lot of topics which are covered in engineering mathematics, which we will be finding in our mathematics optional. Many of the topics we have already read there. And apart from this, if you are comfortable in mathematics, then definitely go for it.
How to analyze yourself strategy during CSE preparation, that my strategy is going in a right way?
See, the tests are meant for that. Like the mock test that we talk about, the main test series that we talk about, they are meant to in terms of evaluate yourself before you're finally evaluated in the examination. So that could be one way whereby you can check your performance in those, and you can see or gauge yourself.
Dipendra, you have asked when to start. Already, Pulkit has said that if you want to start it from the college, it's 6th semester. He has already talked about it. Want to ask that what issue you find out in the preparation time, and now you want to work on them. Okay, what if you are given an option to correct yourself during your preparation strategy? What would you like to correct?
That will be, I think, I would have spent more time on answer writing initially, and then secondly, I believe. See, many times you have to realize that, like even for other candidates also, they are not at fault in terms of their strategy. It could be like the nature of the paper is also such that, like there is essay paper, there is ethics paper, there is the optional paper, there's interview also. You are not able to identify and you have to perform well in all of them. It could be possible that you are above average in all the subjects, but you are not able to score exceedingly well. So you need to identify that particular thing. At least in 2 to 3 subjects, you need to score exceedingly well. so that you are able to qualify with flying colors. So as like I was just pondering over it, I could not find major drawbacks in my earlier attempts. It was just because that I was not scoring significantly in 2 or 3 papers so that I could be in the final merit list.
And let us take one of the last questions. And the question is, can I give the exam during graduation is running?
No, a graduation degree is required, although you can appear after your 4th year. That is during the June prelims that takes place in the month of June. After that, you can appear, but without graduation degree, you are not eligible for it. 21
How-
years of age and the graduation degree is must for it.
Yes, and for this, you can see the latest notification also. All the details are given there. And how to prepare for essay and interview.
Essay and interview, like essay is quite subjective in terms of you have to just present your thought in that regard. You need to practice those. You need to be very good in those because it could be a make or break for your the entire preparation or your entire effort that you have put into it, particularly the essay topic. And when it comes to interview, your interview is much more about yourself, how well you know yourself, how well you know about places you have been to. So you need not worry much about your personality test, and you have to be very candid. You have to be very outwardly about very. You should not panic about your preparation for the personality test.
Pulkit, do you have any ideas about the pros and cons of PSI or optional?
Sorry, I did not prepare with its optional.
See, every optional has their own pros and cons. PSIR is going to help you in paper 2 quality, sometimes in your essay also. But otherwise, if you are from a technical background, sometimes you are not, you do not understand this subject properly. Some people with a technical background, they take up this subject. It all depends on your personal choice. So we have taken up almost all the aspects of this whole preparation. And I know there are so many queries and they will be keep on coming. So please do keep on writing to Next IS. They'll be more than happy to answer to all your queries. So before we end, Pulkit, anything more would you like to add to what you have already discussed right now?
No, ma'am, I could not think more questions. I think we have exhaustively covered various aspects of civil services. I am just feeling very privileged that I got this opportunity to share my thoughts over the UPSC preparation on this platform. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you to Next Eyes as well as IIT Kanpur for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. This exam is very doable. The only thing is that you have to be very focused, determined, and hardworking. Wish you all the best. Thank you, IIT. Thank you, Pulkit.
So on the behalf of Public Policy and Opinion Cell, I would like to thank Nest IAS and Mr. Pulkit for giving such an insightful session and taking up the questions of the campus community and answer them so well. So then now we are just left with some repeated questions. So thank you for such a answer and such an insightful session. Hope we can conduct such more talk shows in the future too.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, IIT Kanpur. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Suankari, stop the meeting. End the meet.